Hey guys, it's supposed to be Wednesday that I'm supposed to vlog, but it's Friday. I just felt the inspiration to vlog, so I thought I'd cut to the chase and just do it. As I said on the last vlog, I wanted to talk a little bit about, totally off topic, but I wanted to talk a little bit about dementia. Not many people that I've talked to seem to really know what it is. It is a form of Alzheimer's. My grandmother has it. You could look it up, dementia. Anyways, it's a disease that over time affects the short-term memory. The person first starts forgetting little things, taking their medication, maybe turning the stove off after using it, those little things. It doesn't seem that big of a deal, but if the person's living on their own, it does. It got to the point my grandmother was living on her own, and we tried to keep her in her own home as long as we could, but my mother and I were having to run down there all the time. And we eventually came to the point where she couldn't live on her own anymore, and it was a big decision that we had to make. But she was actually living in some senior apartments. The place wasn't a long-term care facility. The place was absolutely gorgeous. I would have loved to have moved there. It was like a hotel. Anyways, aside from the fact that dementia, over time, people actually start pulling stuff from the past into the present. So you and I could be sitting here talking about the weather, but all of a sudden a person could just say it's raining out. The person could pull in, a few days ago it was sunny, and they could just pull it into the conversation, and that's what they think. Time to them means nothing. A good example, my grandmother was actually saying how she was outside feeding the birds. Well, she hasn't done that since I was maybe 10, maybe 11, and I'm older now. So just different things like that. She's living with us now, and my mother and I have a system. If my grandmother tells me something and it seems to say a little off, I always go and talk to my mom about it and be like, heads up, this is what she said to me, etc., etc. So we can just kind of know what's going on. But anyways, it's definitely one thing to read about it. It's another thing to actually have to live it. I just wanted to touch on the subject a little bit, to let you guys a little bit more into my life and what I have to deal on a day-to-day basis. Looking after her is big responsibility. It's almost like looking after a child again. I think that's with a lot of elderly people, but this is just a little bit more to deal with, I guess you could say. Anyways, I wanted to also touch on the subject. I was actually watching Rachel's video, and she was talking about the Palestine and all that stuff in the parade for the Dyke March. I didn't go to the Dyke March, but I did go to the gay parade, the Pride Parade, on the Sunday, which is our big parade. And yes, they did have that in the parade as well. I'm not Jewish myself, but I have a lot of Jewish friends, and Rachel is one of my friends, and I can understand why she would be upset. It made me a little angry. Everybody's allowed to have their own views and stuff on whatever the subject is, topic, but not when it's supposed to be such a positive time for us, you know, to celebrate who we are. Something like that. If you disagree with me, that's fine, but I think something like that shouldn't have been in our parade. It was totally off topic, and it put a little bit of a damper on it. And I actually thought, when that happened, I actually thought of Rachel for some reason. But it did put a little damper, but the rest of the parade was awesome. Also, when I was watching Rachel's video, she's saying she wants to be a vet. Funny thing is that I'm going through school for, well, starting soon I'll be going to school for animal care, which is not as advanced as being a vet, obviously, but I could work in animal shelters. When I'm finished, I could run my own store, I could work in a veterinary clinic, any of those type of things. I also have to touch on biology. I know biology there's math involved, but math was never my big subject. But I feel when it has to do with animals and something that I love to do, it'll be good. So, actually the funny thing is Rachel and I touched on the subject. Well, maybe we could open up our own practice. I think that would be actually kind of awesome, because we could kind of have like a veterinarian clinic type idea, but we could also, I would love to, one of my dreams is either to open my own pet store / pet spa, because people like to pamper their pets. I think it's actually to make the person feel better. I think it's actually more for the customers themselves, not for the animal. But that's just my opinion on that. But anyways, I think it would be kind of cool to have the pet spa and stuff, and maybe we could kind of attach the clinic somehow so they could be kind of together. What do you think, Rachel? I'm dreaming big here. Big. That, or I've always wanted to work for the OSPCA. They are higher up than the Humane Society. I wanted to work for the Toronto Humane Society, but there's just so much scandal going on with them right now. I don't know what to believe. I don't like to follow the media, but I need to know a little bit more about it. So anything to do with the Humane Society right now, I'm kind of up in the air about. Speaking of media and two different sides, I actually wanted to talk about the Toronto worker strike. My father actually is a city employee, and it's one topic at home that we don't really touch upon. Right now I'm neutral. I don't know everything that's going on behind closed doors. I just hope that they can figure everything out and they don't have to actually go to arbitration, because with that, nothing will be solved. Pretty much like, this is it, and this is what you have to accept, and this is how it's going to be. I just want the whole thing to stop, honestly, as just being a citizen of Toronto. It sucks about the garbage. I feel sorry for the kids that have nowhere to really go in the summertime, especially those people that don't have a pool or different programs, daycare. That's where I think a lot of people are kind of looking outside of Toronto to take their kids, even though it's a bit of a drive, but where else are they going to go?